Hi, my name is Danielle Barbado, and our group researched social studies, as Michelle had mentioned. She had also mentioned the literacy demands on social studies teachers a bit, and I will be diving a little bit deeper into that. I also am going to discuss literacy strategies and how they're beneficial for social studies instruction and achievement, and specific literacy strategies to embed in your teaching. My two articles, I chose to do two articles because they were so different in content. Um, my articles were Teaching Literacy Through Social Studies Under No Child Left Behind. This article spoke a lot about the demands and aspects that social studies teachers have to worry about now that they didn't have to worry about before. My second article is called Embedding Literacy Strategies in Social Studies for 8th grade students. This article was more of a background on the importance of embedding literacy strategies into the content because of the achievement and the growth of the students and the motivation. And they performed a study, which I will discuss a bit later in the presentation. So the demands on social studies and history teachers now, they have to worry about No Child Left Behind. They have to worry about testing. They have to worry about implementing these literacy strategies, which a lot of them are apprehensive about because they look at themselves as social studies teachers rather than literacy teachers. And a lot of times the teachers think that it is the literacy teacher's job to implement those strategies. However, it is making a change, and now they're almost being forced to implement these literacy strategies because they're now also deemed responsible for the students' testing results. Many social studies teachers are having difficulty deciphering between teaching content and teaching literacy, as I said, and mainly that's because, before they were just teaching their content, and that was all that they were responsible for, even by the standards. Now, they not only have to teach the content standards in social studies, but they also have to look at the literacy standards, including speaking, writing, listening, as Michelle had previously spoken about in her presentation. Um, it is difficult for social studies teachers to do this now, and I think a lot of it has to do with quality professional development, which I'll discuss later. Amanda will mention in her presentation that social studies teachers are getting away from that rote memorization in the textbook. I remember when I was in social studies class, it was mainly from the textbook, and it was vocabulary memorization, and there were a lot of words to memorize. Um, the movement is making the social studies teachers feel a little bit uncomfortable because now, they're being asked to use that disciplinary literacy involving multiple texts, collaborative work. It's no longer in the hands of the teachers now. They're kind of pushing for that student, based classroom where the students are controlling the learning. And that makes a lot of social studies content teachers, like I had said, a little bit nervous and uncomfortable. As stated in my article, they said that it is difficult for many teachers to understand the necessity of keeping the content of the text at the forefront while teaching strategies. So it's really important as a literacy coach for us to make sure that the social studies teachers know that we're not asking them to take away from the content and replace the content with these literacy strategies. What we're asking them to do is just embed them in the content. So keep the content as the forefront, as the focus, but, you know, for example, if your concept is Native Americans, you know, bring together various articles, let them see it from different perspectives, involve them in the learning. And as I just had said, literacy coaches, they can alleviate some of the pressure that the social studies teachers feel by allowing them the opportunities and guiding them through the use of disciplinary literacy, showing them that, again, keep that content at the forefront, but have fun with it, and allow the students to use their background knowledge, use the content as well, and then, bring in those literacy skills all together. And Michelle had explained this in depth. In the article, there was an example of a teacher who used the textbook, she used small groups, she used group leaders. She tried implementing collaborative activities. However, her activities in the article, they weren't meaningful and purposeful. So she was just, she thought she was doing the right thing. She thought she was making her learning, or her teaching rather, meaningful. However, she wasn't involving multiple texts. She wasn't using collaborative learning meaningfully. She wasn't using, Jigsaw as we had learned, or any of the collaborative strategies that we have learned in this course. You could use debates. She could have used speeches, playing specific parts. She could have used plays. These are all ways, and it goes back to that disciplinary literacy that the social studies teacher can, again, I reiterate, keep it about the content. However, include those lifelong literacy skills that our students will need when they grow up. To the right here, we have, I thought these two pictures were pretty significant. You have a triangle to the right, or a little pyramid rather. At the bottom, it says basic literacy, pre-kindergarten to grade 2. Literacy skills such as decoding, as we know, knowledge of high frequency words. Then you have intermediate literacy, which is grades 3 to 5, and that's literacy skills common to many texts, including generic comprehension strategies, common word meaning, basic fluency. This is where students are really starting to, rather than decode, they're really reading to learn. Disciplinary literacy, grades 6 to 12. Literacy skills specialized to science, math, history, literature, fine arts, or other subject matter. And below, you have a Venn diagram there that on the left has content literacy, which would be, focus on text recall, study skills, techniques to make sense of the text. And then on the right, you have disciplinary literacy, specific subject discipline strategies, focus on discipline-specific vocabulary and skills. You need explicit instruction. And the similarities that they have, both are types of literacy, and they're both a focus on strategies. Regardless of what grade you teach, I teach 4th grade, and social studies does not have to be boring. I actually had a student the other day say that social studies is his favorite class. Currently, we're going over the regions in the United States, and I use Padlet as kind of a review concept for them, but they love getting together with their group, and I use Padlet as a jigsaw activity for them. So, and we're talking states and capitals. It doesn't have to be boring. Just engage your learners. Let them talk to you about what they know. Let them, take that new information that they're learning and coincide with what they know. And you would be shocked how much they enjoy the social studies content, and, how much further their learning is going. So in the upper grades, for social studies content teachers, they should really be allowing students the chance to change their perspective through text and exciting activities. So the article stated, during interviews, students politely told me that in their view, social studies alternated between boring and interesting. When I asked what was interesting, they all referred to one lesson, a town hall meeting in which the teacher let students direct their own debate between loyalists and patriots. Social studies allows for involvement, and when students are involved in their learning, they're engaged. Allow students to do the learning while the teacher is there to guide or scaffold them. This is often hard for veteran social studies teachers. That's again why quality professional development is extremely important. They have to think like historians, which Amanda will really touch upon. And in our chapter that we read in Content Matters, it stated that the ways in which students engage in this intellectual work are just as important as the work itself. So now I'll move into how to implement literacy strategies into social studies, or more so, I guess, how important it is to student learning to implement these strategies. So as stated by, this is my second article, by Gaston, Martinez, and Martin, there is no magic elixir for students' lack of motivation, engagement, and achievement in social studies. But literacy strategies were seen as a help that teachers might use to pique students' interest and help them succeed. So again, I know it seems pretty repetitive, but allowing students time with various texts, this gets them critically thinking, getting them involved with recognizing real world issues. For example, in my own classroom, as I had discussed on the discussion, or had presented on the discussion board, we used Newsela, and I used a bunch of different articles for the election. And at the end, the students were able to vote on Newsela. You know, they felt like they knew it wasn't real, but they felt like it was real. We had debates, and you know, we had a lot of fun with learning about the candidates. And you know, they asked their parents to watch the news, and they would come in, and you know, I had to keep my opinions very neutral. However, you know, just talking about those real world issues, you know, they are fourth graders. However, their voice matters, and a lot of the children, you know, want you to hear what they have to say about what's going on in the world. So, and I can imagine this, you know, would be even greater in the upper grades. So social studies teachers can really take hold of those literacy strategies and really, you know, have fun with them. Key, Bradley, Jay, and Bradley declared that in order to stimulate students' interest in social studies and promote literacy, students must be actively involved. So we really, as literacy coaches, have to push social studies content teachers to get away from the direct instruction and move more towards literacy strategy instruction. And this slide will explain what the article found in their study. They studied two separate classes, Gaston, Martinez, and Martin. They studied a direct instruction classroom, and they studied a literacy strategies classroom. When they pre-tested both classes, they were very close in their mean average. It was 63.16 in the direct instruction class, and literacy strategies class was 59.38. After the 9 weeks, 8 to 9 weeks, the mean average post-test in the direct instruction classroom was 75.53, and in the literacy strategies classroom, it was 86.46. So as you can see, the literacy strategies classroom, their mean average achievement score was significantly higher. So if we look at the table that I created here, in the direct instruction classroom, there were 3 behavioral referrals given, disciplinary referrals. There was a lack of motivation, you know, students' heads on the desks and trying to sleep, not completing their assignments. And the other hand, the literacy strategies classroom, they were engaged, they were motivated, obviously impacted their achievement. They found content relevant. They were confident, they were eager, they were asking questions, they were on task. Whereas, again, the direct instruction classroom, you know, they described social studies as boring, and they had poor work ethic on their writing assignments. So I guess to wrap up, embedding these literacy strategies, it is extremely important to social studies content, especially, again, as I had mentioned before, with the demands that are on the content teachers. And hopefully as literacy coaches one day we can, you know, really push for them to embed these skills such as comprehension skills, vocabulary, which we learned about this week, tons of activities you can incorporate, and you can correlate it with the social studies content, technology, non-traditional texts like trade books, as Michelle had referenced, perspectives, various perspectives, and then quality and depth of teachers and quality PD is extremely important. So Amanda is going to discuss document-based lessons, and she's also going to discuss assessing students. How do we know that these strategies are, you know, working? All right, have a good day. Bye.